right, my friends, here we go. Do we go? We go. Hi. I have a review slash walkthrough of a deck for you. Actually, two decks, but they won't be in the same video. What a shock. And I'm going to record them both now because that's how I roll. But the first one is a deck that I didn't know about. And really, I should begin by saying, like, I'm actually very out of the loop with what's being released, particularly on indie stuff. So, like, that's one thing I sort of am remiss about. I wish I knew. And I think partly because I just haven't seen, like, the algorithms aren't recommending, like, deck review videos to me as much as they used to. So if you have decks I should check out, let me know in the comments. This is a deck. This is not how it came. I'm just sort of it's just I wanted to show you this thing. This is a deck that I was asked to review. So the creator asked me, would you let me send you a copy of the deck and give me an honest review? And I've always been kind of like hot and cold with doing deck reviews for folks who ask to send me the deck because on the one hand, they're always like, be honest about it, and I try to be. On the other hand, like if I don't like it, it's not really necessarily the fault of the deck or the creator. It's just my taste. And so where I tend to land is I'll kind of look at the deck beforehand, if there are images available, and say, I don't know that this is for me, or this I kind of like this. Yeah, I'd be happy to check it out. Because what I don't want to do is tell you I like a deck that I don't, but I also don't want to like eat into the sales potential of a deck that I don't like just because it's just not for me. So this is a deck that is for me. I quite like it, and I just wanted to show this to you. Actually, probably the easiest thing to do is, or not. It's a little wax scarab, which is one of the coolest things I've ever. Or it's maybe not even wax. I think she mentioned it was stone. It is stone, and it just came sort of applied to the thing in a way, and I just love that detail. So I actually kind of I wish I could keep it on the gold because it looks really cool, but that's the Scarab. So this is the Scarab and Dahlia tarot deck by Joanna Callahan Waldo, designed by Octavia Louis Cart Waldo, and it is a independently published deck, and I'll leave the information below, and it's a collage deck. And I used to say, like, collage decks are hit or miss for me, but, like, by that logic, every deck of any, media, right? Like, that's kind of how art is, right? It's for you or it's not. So collage decks, I used to say, are hit or miss for me. There are many that I like, and I like this one. The Superlunaris, the Voyager Tarot, the Artist's Inner Vision deck, which I don't know if I've ever done a video of. It's a deck that, Arnel Ando kind of co-created, curated. Its collage deck. Some of them really work. Some of them less so, in my opinion. And I think I was really kind of put off by the Gendron deck from the 90s. It's one of my first decks, and it really just kind of egged me out. But this does not do that. I like it a lot. So, great box, like sturdy production quality, and I'll get out of the way. The only thing I don't like about this deck is that the cardstock is so thick it's a hard shuffle. Now, some people really like that. I can shuffle it, and I will show that to you. I know that for a lot of folks with dexterity issues, including my sort of tiny hands, that can be difficult. So, just know that. But it's beautiful. I mean, the cardstock feels great. Like, it's that really just delicious. It's matte, but it's not sticky. It's not that sort of rubbery rose petal thing. It's just a really nice cardstock. It's just a little thick for for my taste. But it's great. And I've shuffled it and worked with it. So here's what the backs look like. And I just think it's like really nicely done from start to finish. Like, it's just a really nice deck, and I really like it a lot. There are multiple alts or swaps for the lovers, and then there's an additional swap for death. I can't tell which one that I like the most, so I haven't chosen at this point. I've sort of just kept in the deck the one that was the first one I saw, and then I would show you these, but I don't know. So this is one of the death cards, which is beautiful. They're all beautiful. I mean, that's why it's hard to choose, because they're all great. The Lovers, these are the different versions. And again, I like them all. And I don't know which to choose. And who knows? Maybe life's a journey, so maybe I'll, use multiple ones. But so those are the alts. Let's look at the deck itself. Or really, the prime, the primary. We're already looking at the deck. What the hell am I don't know. So here we go with the cards. So here's the Fool. And I'm not going to do a whole lot of commentary. If you've been around here before, I don't really talk about the cards too much. I just think that's a really successful collage. They're hand cut. So this isn't digital collage. Or if there's any, there was digital work on it to sort of get color and lighting and whatnot. But they're hand cut and made. And I really, really like it. It's really nice and saturated. It is the kind of collage that is not trying to hide that it's collage. And typically that's, to me, the most successful collage, right? Because it's sort of embracing what it is rather than trying not to be the thing. And I guess where collage gets creepy to me is in that uncanny valley thing, from digital media. This doesn't have that. So, and in that regard, then I'm okay, yeah, I'm just looking at collage. And there's something really democratic to me about collage tarot decks. And maybe democratic is no longer the right word, right? There's something accessible. There's something available, because you don't need to have gone to art school or this or that to make one. You know what I mean? All you need is a good eye and a collection of images to work with. I really like this Hierophant. Hierophants so I read the Hierophant more negatively typically than is depicted in most modern decks. I still think of it as kind of representing that Christo-colonial vibe for the most part. Sometimes it does suggest faith. And that's how I would read this. But again, I just really love this imagery. And I think what's nice about collage, too, is the ability to layer in multiple ideas, layer in multiple concepts, tools, visions of the cards. That, to me, I think is really valuable, because where, in my experience, a lot of readers get stuck is in, well, the card means this, right? And then it shows up and you're that meaning doesn't make sense. But when you look at a card that has layers in it, or on the other end of the coin, if it's super neutral, it doesn't really matter that that's what the card means, because then you can find other stuff in it. And that's what I'm constantly encouraging folks to do is yes, you have that meaning, but there's more to it than that. There's more to the idea than that. This is the Lover's card I kept in. And it probably is the one I will keep in. While I love the other ones, there's something very evocatively sexy about this, and I think that's probably what I'll go with. Also, it's not clear, gender orientation or presentation there. Here's the Chariot and Strength. So collage, this is a beautiful Hermit card. Collage allows you to layer potential, and I think that's quite cool. This is a great Wheel of Fortune. I have always said Wheels of Fortune never really do it for me. Really love this one. Justice. The Lava is really interesting. I really like this Hanged Man a lot. I sort of had an audible reaction to it when I opened it and saw it. So always a good sign. You saw the other Death card. This is the one I kept in. Again, I really like that other one. There's something much more deathy about this, and I'm sort of probably going to use this one. Temperance. The Devil. Now, this is not my favorite card in this deck, and one reason why is that I love the Devil card, right? And so I would love a little bit more of a clear statement on this, but I think, again, what what is being attempted here is nuance, is layers, is like it's not just this Christo, evil embodiment. It's all of these other things. It can be addiction, but it can be play, it can be games, it can be poverty, it can be sex. You know what I mean? So like it's all in there, and that's all in that card. And so while like visually, I would love something a little more devilish. It's an excellent iteration of the layers of that card that I think often get missed. So while like visually or like artistically, it's not my favorite, it embodies so much of what the card really is that what's the word I'm reaching? It trumps the thing that I wish it were. If that makes sense, And it's not like I don't like it. It's just, I was like, ooh, what's the devil gonna be? Love the tower. The stars. I mean, all the cards are quite beautiful. I think the devil's the only one that I'm sort of not that wild about. And again, it's like it's not that I don't like it. It's just that I would have done it differently, and that's tarot, right? The sun, really, really cool. And this judgment card I really like. And the world. So those are the majors, and then we get into the minors. Typical Waite-Smith minors. They're not pips. Ace of Wands. And so we get, they're reimaginings. It's an ode to the Waite-Smith deck. A really beautiful one. And what the creator said to me, what Joanna said to me was, I was just trying to create the deck that I wanted to use. And that, to me, is so important as a starting point for any deck creator, in my estimation, right? That you start with the deck that you want to use, that you're filling in a gap that you feel like hasn't been filled in the tarot market, right? And meaning you. And the specificity of that to me is where decks tend to succeed, because even if I'm like, oh gee, I would have done that card differently, I still get a sense of this creator's intent and intention and their relationship to the card. And that's valuable. You know what I mean? That's more interesting to me than just another version of the same old thing. So starting from, like, if I were to give advice on creating a deck, start with the deck that you can't find and make that deck. That's where to go. You know what I mean? Like, I think sometimes themes are like entry points for folks, but to me as a reader, like, themes are so specific, I tend to not really read with theme decks that much, because they are so specific, and in many cases theme decks sort of veer into oracle, or it's just like I kind of want to make a deck, so I'm just going to sort of do my version of the Waite-Smith, which again, is you could argue that that's what this is and what most decks are. But again, to me, there's the added quality of, like, I am making a deck that I needed to see in the world. And you can feel that, I think, in the deck. I feel like the need for it, the creator's need for it to be, comes to the fore in a deck that the creator really was operating from. This is what I wanted. So here we are in Cups. And again, I'm just kind of rambling, but that's how I feel about it. That's the thing for me is, start with what you needed as a reader or a tarot artist or whatever, and like that almost always, unless it's some sort of thing I really don't get into, I'm gonna appreciate, because I'm gonna feel it. I'm gonna know that there is, like, again, a passion there and a fire, And especially because tarot has become so mainstreamed. And I was actually in Barnes & Noble today, and every time I go in there, I just sort of gander at, what's happening tarot deck-wise. And I talked about my feeling of, like, the sameness of what a lot of mass market publishers are putting out. There's also, like, I don't know how, like, I get accused sometimes when I say things like this of being a gatekeeper, of, like, there's a lack of respect, and, like, for me to say that, because I am very, very not interested in, like, tradition or respect for tradition, right? Like, that's not, but, like, the Friends Oracle, or, like, the Friends like, that, it doesn't do it for me. And it's, like, the thing of when something becomes popular, and publishers realize there's money to be made from crap, then they start giving us crap because crap is cheaper. You know what I mean? And I feel like we've definitely seen that in the last few years. If you go into most mass market bookstores, into their new agey, witchy, tarot-y section, there's the Garbage Pail Tarot, and there's the Godfather Tarot, and the Meryl Streep Tarot. And, like, it's cute, but it's I don't know. It's like, where would you find, like, the Barbie Bible? Or, like the I don't know, the fucking Hammer Quran. You know what I mean? Like, these things are, it's you wouldn't see that necessarily, because it's like a lack of respect. On the other side of the coin, it's a game, and so, like, I don't want us to take it so seriously that it becomes stuffy and esoteric and all this shit that I don't like on the other side of the coin. It's like there's a balancing act of thoughtfulness. And the other thing that I noticed, I'm not really talking about this deck at this point, but this deck represents all the things I'm not talking about in mass market. What was I going to say? Oracle, like tarot, mass market. Like, it should be fun. I have no idea what I was going to say. Oh, game. So I've noticed that there are some decks now being put in the tarot section that actually aren't oracles or tarot decks. They're just games. Which, like, I have such mixed feelings about that. Because, again, tarot is a game. Lenormand was a game, right? Dominoes is a game. So, like, yeah, games. But, like, on the other side, it sort of, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. I really like this Nine of Swords. I don't know how to, like, I there's, like, a snobby part of me, and then there's, like, a part that's, like, relaxed, and there's a part of me that's, like, be respectful, and then there's, like, a part of me that's, like, fuck respect. I don't know. And that's an okay place to be, incidentally. Like, so often now we need to just fucking have the answer, the easy answer, that it can be both annoying and not. It can be both appropriate and not. It can be both respectful and not. You know what I mean? Like, it can simultaneously be more than one thing. And so while I don't want or like or even sort of encourage the Garbage Pail Kids Tarot, like, also far be it from me to say that's fucked up and don't make it. You know what I mean? But I think to tie it to what I was trying to get to, or what I was saying before, is that it's about more than just let's make a buck off this. And maybe that's it. You know what I mean? Like, I can tell when a deck has been made thoughtfully, with intent, with intention, even if I don't like it. I can tell when a deck hasn't been, and when it's really just a way to, like, get people's money. And I think a lot of us can tell that difference. You know what I mean? And I think that's one reason why. It's one reason why we're not seeing, like, the active tarot tube as much as we used to. Partly because so much of what's coming out is just not interesting anymore. You know what I mean? And so, like, I used to just take a chance and buy a deck and do a review of it, just to sort of, for the thrill of it, you know what I mean, for the fun of it, and to, like, just make a video and share a video about it, and now I don't really do that anymore, because it's like every time I take a risk and buy a deck that I see in the store without sort of doing any watch through of it first, it's always disappointing to me. And I'm very hard on decks, and I feel bad because it's not necessarily the artist or the author, you know what I mean? Because I know how publishing works. I'm thinking back to a review I did of a deck that I didn't like, and it's actually sitting next to me now. I'm not going to tell you what it was. And the author, and I didn't like it, and I think I did a number on the deck. Really, I think I did a number on US Games, but, like, the author commented on it and sort of said, it was like a thanks, and it was really nice. It was like, thank you for the feedback, and I felt really bad because you work on something this hard, and then some asshole comes along and so I don't like this, and this publisher sucks, and You know what I mean? And that's, the Vampire Tarot, the recent release from Llewellyn, was another one where it's like, I don't like that deck much. I think it needs work. I think there's potential. I think some of the art's really great, but to me, it just feels so Llewellyn that, like, the Llewellynness of it is just why I didn't like it. You know what I mean? So it's tough, and my problem with Llewellyn is how homogenized their deck releases are, and that many of them are very kind of shallow to me in some way, in that they seem to be very much about, well, people like hourglasses, so we'll make the hourglass tarot. You know what I mean? And it's like, it wasn't a years-long passion project for someone who collects hourglasses and, fucking did research and found 22 different hourglasses that, they felt encapsulated the majors. It's just like, let's hire an artist that we've worked with before, whose work is pretty, and we'll get them to draw 78 cards with 78 hourglasses on them. You know what I mean? And it feels to me very hollow, where I don't get that same feeling from an independently produced deck. Even if I don't like it, that was a passion project. I remember not liking the Brady Tarot much, because, again, it just wasn't for me. But I could feel the creators, That was another one where I was sort of snide in the review, and the creators sort of commented. I think I called a card a dead rat. And I just, I was just being snarky. I also am very moody, and my mood will sometimes impact my feelings about a deck when I look at it the first time. And then sometimes I was really excited about a deck, and I get it, and it just didn't live up to what I thought it was going to be, and now I'm really just rambling. But this is a great deck. So, sorry, Joanna, I feel like I should have been talking more about your deck. I really, really, really like it, and the only thing I don't like it is that it's tough to shuffle. But I've been shuffling it for, like, the last minute, and you can see that, if you're persistent, you can get it, and I think this kind of cardstock does break in a little bit, and it's got that really, like, swishy feel to it that, like, I love. That's, like, a satisfying kind of, like, ASMR swish. Don't drop the cards. I really, really do like it. I absolutely will use it. And I'm just going to lay out a spread for you. I love the size of the cards, too. It's a very, like, tarot-y size. It feels like tarot. Again, the saturation. Like, this is just, to me, really, really successful. And it almost feels like it has little nods to decks that I really love, like the Voyager, like the I mean, I don't mean literal intentional nods, but to the Super Lunaris, to the, even the, Margareta Peterson, which is not a collage deck, but has some collage elements in it. It's a beautiful deck. Look how gorgeous it is. It looks so great in a spread. You know what I mean? So, very, very highly recommended. Really, really beautiful. Thank you, Joanna, for sending it to me and giving me the chance to show it off. Folks, I'll leave the information about finding the deck in the comments if you like it. Thanks for sticking with me during this ramble. Hopefully you understand that what I'm really getting at is, like, two things, right? A lot of what's being released mass market feels very soulless to me, and even things that aren't probably soulless feel made more so by association, And so to me, again, that's the problem with the corporate part of it, not the deck creators. A good editor, a good guide, a good sort of tarot dramaturg could say, hey, this is feeling a little hollow. How do we deepen this? How do we make this more you? I don't think that comes... If they're doing that, it's not coming through on the mass market for most decks. Indie decks are much more exciting to me. So anyway, that's what I was getting at. And also you can really feel when the artist meant it. And that's kind of where I was going to. Beautiful, beautiful Scarab and Dahlia Tarot by Joanna Callahan Waldo, designed by Octavia Louis Kurt. I hope I'm saying that right. Waldo. I love it. I think bravo. Thanks for sending it to me. Thanks for watching. Take care. Be good. And we will talk soon.